And welcome to the Aspire Higher podcast. Your host, Dave Glaser. We provide personal trainers with simple solutions to build a business, master online training, and eventually open their own studio. Our goal is to share business systems, marketing tools, customer service strategies to help you build a business quickly so that it can be sustained long term.
Thank you very much for coming back to the Aspire Higher podcast. My name is Dave Glaser. I am so pumped to introduce my guest, Mr. Tyson Gaylord. How are you doing today?
I'm wonderful, Dave. Thank you so much for having me on. It was a blast when we had it reversed.
It was my pleasure to be on the Social Chameleon Show. Before we get started, I want to introduce you to the audience. You're a transformational shaper, which I know is a self-proclaimed title, but we're going to get into that here in a second.
Yeah.
You've been in digital marketing for over 7 years. And I know that that's a hot topic in the industry for personal trainers and wellness professionals right now.
Yeah.
And then we did touch on it. You are the host of the Social Chameleon Show. So how did you get into digital marketing 7 years ago? And really ultimately why?
Well, I guess, let's see. My son was maybe about 6 months old or so, and my wife, she had taken a semester off from nursing school, and it was getting about time for her to go back to nursing school. And I had worked full time. I was, I guess, like the CEO kind of this small company, and we were just going. And I was like, I mean, my life was so consumed by that, and we were like, do we get a babysitter? Or, what are we going to do? Family or friends or what? I was like, you know what? I think I'm just going to quit and I'm going to stay home with him. And I think that's more important and precious than working. So that's what I did. And as he started getting a little older and she was getting ready to graduate, I was like, okay, now what am I going to do? And I had wanted to, I've been trying to do a lot of things myself for many, many years, and nothing really kind of stuck. And I don't know what it was, some seminar or something, a class or whatever thing. I kind of, got introduced to, kind of digital marketing and the internet, and kind of these things were being taken out of these big corporations and things. And the little guy could learn and help the small guys with their marketing. I was like, well, that sounds like something I could stay at home and do and learn and do that. And honestly, I kind of got sold like, oh, there's a lot of money in this. And I was like, oh, that sounds fun. And I can stay home and that sounds fun. And with many things I've learned that if you're chasing after the money, it's just not really going to last. But what I found was, I guess what I was ultimately looking for was helping people. And I found that through trying to, I guess, help them with their marketing, what they really, really needed was help being a better business and understanding what they were kind of doing and selling. And I kind of fell in love with that aspect of it, with helping them realize, what they were selling and what they were doing and what they were trying to offer people. And I think that's ultimately what I want to, falling in love with and really liking, was that aspect of more of the helping than the actual tactics and strategies that I had learned and we were trying to implement. I don't know if hopefully that makes sense.
No, it makes perfect sense. So let's say that, let's talk about who comes to you now. Maybe they're like a solo entrepreneur, or they're a beginning business, and they're just kind of like stair-stepping their way to their initial goals.
Mm-hmm.
And then you come in and you identify what they're clearly all about as a business.
Yeah. And
you help make their targeting and their marketing specific to that unique selling proposition. Am I summing that up pretty clearly?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. That's about right. Yeah.
Good. And who specifically seeks you out?
Generally it's small businesses, whether here it's around town or something along those lines. Either they're just getting started, or they're kind of struggling to get their footing, or they're very just confused. There's a few people I've had, they've been burned by many of these little, one and done kind of things, these little small people that kind of like how I started off with, like, there's a lot of money in it, get in there and start managing these people's social media. You can make, 10 grand a month, and they get burned by a lot of those type of people. And that's the kind of I feel like when we have our first initial conversations, either when I get you or I lose you is I'm honest about things and I kind of tell it how it is. And I think that a lot of people I've worked with, they come back to me and say, it's such a breath of fresh air to hear you be honest and tell me like it is. And it's not about the money you're trying to get from me. It's about making my business grow and become successful.
Awesome, man. And so you were a stay-at-home dad while your wife was going to nursing school. Props to you. I mean, that's the hardest job in the world.
Oh, it was, but it's just so much fun. I would never take anything back from that. It was so much fun.
And then you were looking for some income and some area of passion that you were able to help other people. And it gave you the flexibility and the quality of life that you were looking for at the time. And I believe that to be like one of the most admirable core values.
Mm-hmm.
Are you looking for similar values when you're talking to business owners? And then do you place those core values in their marketing strategy?
Definitely. And that's one of the things I say right up front. I said, I tell people that when we first communicate, I said, if you're looking for a cash grab or you're looking for a get rich kind of thing, then we can stop now. I'm not into that. I know from personal experience and others that's just not going to last. We're going to put a lot of effort and money and things into this stuff. And as soon as things get hard, you're just going to walk away because you're just in it for the cash. And when the cash dries up, you're just going to run. And I don't want my name necessarily tied to that. I don't want to spend my time in those types of things.
I completely understand that. Absolutely. And if somebody doesn't have their core values in place, is that an area of your expertise that you can kind of interview them a little bit and say, what I'm hearing from you is maybe these are your top 4 most important things in your business. And then you guys run from there?
Definitely. That is definitely one of the very first things when we do kind of come to an agreement here that we're going to work together. That's the very, very first thing. I sit down with them and I go through with them. Why are you doing this? What is your motivations? All these types of things along those lines. So not only, I mean, I hate to, make it, everybody's like, oh, craft your story and get this thing. And that's all great. But a lot of times it's bullshit. I'm sorry if the language is not appropriate in your podcast, but
we're real, man. We're real here.
Yeah. And that's the thing. I see so many times where these wordsmiths, these copywriters, they come up with this beautiful thing and the owner's like, yeah, this is what we're about. I don't understand a damn thing. It's a bunch of pretty words. But you can't get behind that. They can't articulate it. And I think if we come from a more genuine place and if the person can understand why they got into business, why they're still in business, if I can get that out of them and get them, clear about it, these other things start to take care of themselves because you start to find your customers, you start to find your market, you start to find these people because you're speaking their language. You're where they're at. You're in their space, and instead of trying to craft this narrative about finding these people, you're genuinely excited about. Like you're excited about this MMA. You're excited about these weightlifters. So who are you going to find? You're going to find the people that you're already hanging out with. You're already excited to be around. Versus trying to be something you're not because it's the trend or the cool thing or whatever, something along those lines. But yeah, definitely. I've got a bunch of questions and things we go through. And they're hard. And a lot of times, there's sometimes people just drop out right then and there. They're like, these are too hard questions. I don't want to answer them. I can't think of it. And sometimes they have a short-sighted vision of what is this going to do for me? Why should I answer these questions? And it's like, if you tackle these now and you understand why and what you're doing, the how is going to come. The money's going to come later. When you'll figure all this stuff out and it'll be so much less painful 6 months from now. Totally
agree with that. Do you have to send them packing with a copy of Simon Sinek's book, Start With Why?
I really should. I really should. That's a good idea. I think I'm gonna have to go order a case of those and just be like, here you go. Let me send this out. But I tried to explain that concept a few times. I've done I did this one talk a few months ago at this new company to their employees, and I was going through this concept, and it was funny how much people wanted to argue with me how that just was bullshit. And it's like, and I look and I say, well, you're not doing too well in your business, so maybe we should rethink this approach. But people are very resistant to that concept.
Yeah, I believe that comes from a scarcity versus an abundant mindset. And
Absolutely.
let's be honest here. My word of the year is collaboration. And
Mm-hmm.
my goal is to collaborate with as many business owners, such as yourself, or as many, you're in Phoenix, but as many business owners as I possibly can here in Denver as well, so that we can collaborate and push each other forward. Do you also believe that it comes from scarcity? And then how do you coach them to believe in the abundant mindset?
Yeah, absolutely. That is what I discovered. It is from that scarcity mindset. I'm sure we've all heard it 1,000 times. Maybe we've even said it ourselves. Like, I want to keep my best stuff to myself because I'm worried that somebody else is going to take my clients and somebody else is going to take my ideas and somebody else is going to take all this stuff from me. And it's like, I tell people, take it all. Take it all from me. Because guess what? You only are regurgitating what I said. I came up with it. I understand it. You don't. You don't get nothing. And if you take it, that's great. There's whatever, millions of people. You can have some. I can have some. We all can have good old time. And with that too, you free up your mind to not spend. So many people spend so much time in the vanity metrics and in these places of, oh, these guys, look at they're doing medicine. These guys are doing this and they're. You're not spending any time doing what you need to do. You're not focusing on your customers and your business because you're so worried about what everything everybody's taking from you, what they're doing, versus saying, there is so much out there. There's so many people. There's so much things out there. If you free up your mind to say, no matter what I'm doing, no matter where I'm going, there's a lot of it. There's plenty of things. There's plenty of people. There's plenty of business. The shift that happens, I have a customer. It took her a long time. I mean, to shift. And then when she did, she started making more money. Instead, so the selfish thing and all these things, so wait, now you're giving everything away and you're doing all these things for the people and you're making more money now. It's like, when you look back, you're like, I never would have thought that, but it's just amazing how things open up and these small little things you do for people, these little acts of generosity create tens of thousands of dollars in returns that it's hard to put your finger down. And it's hard to actualize it. It's hard to put it on your balance sheet because, a lot of times it's such a trickle down effect that you can't even trace where it even came from to begin with. Once you guys switch over to that mindset, keep listening to Dave. He's on it. It is just this world of opportunity that just opens up to you. It's just unbelievable.
I completely agree. I remember my mindset shift, and it wouldn't have come had I not picked up a title or two along the way of, Simon Sinek. I think The Big Leap was a big changer for me. Love that book. And then you said something specifically in there, just give it away. Take it. Go ahead and take it. Mm-hmm. A great book out there, Give and Take by Adam Scott. Mm-hmm. Research-based about who are givers, who are takers, and then who are the moderators in the middle. Yeah. Basically like a connector. Mm-hmm. And they can kind of shift one way or the other. They shift to givers, they shift to takers, but they're actually like the most successful type of person because they know that they're not being taken advantage of in every situation, but they also aren't giving everything away for free, and they're also not taking everything too. Right. And what I need to remind, that being said, what I need to remind myself about scarcity and abundance is that if I give this away, A, B, and C, and it impacts other personal trainers' businesses or other personal trainers' clients, then that footprint or that thumbprint from my knowledge is actually moving forward, like in a societal way. Yes. Does that make sense?
No, it does. It does. I think that's kind of some things that we seem to be missing is that community, that village, like bringing each other along and pushing each other along. I mean, I don't know when, we stopped doing that, but you would never sit there and go, I have a tractor, but this guy doesn't want to pay me for it, so we're not going to have corn in our village. Like, you would have been like, listen, man, we'll figure this out later. Let's get this stuff going.
Yeah, the barter system went away, and then a lot of people began to think, well, mine, me. And yes, it's human nature to think that way in a human biological sense, but that's a whole nother topic for a whole nother conversation.
Yeah, definitely.
And why I bring up that societal shift is you were a stay-at-home dad, a digital marketer, and then you created this great show called the Social Chameleon.
Yeah.
Tell me about how you got into podcasting and really why the topic is the way that it is.
Yeah, it comes from the marketing company. What I wound up doing more than anything was just being like a coach. Sometimes I felt like I was a therapist. So I started thinking, it's less about the strategies and the tactics and more about the mindset, understanding why you're doing these things, understanding this abundance and all these different things we talk, not always talk about here, but we kind of talk about a lot, and you see it with all the successful people. And that seemed to be the component and things that were missing. So I was like, let me shift this more to kind of coaching. And then I started doing that. And then I was like, I didn't feel like I was reaching enough people. Like, I just couldn't talk to enough people. So then I was like, I'm very, very reluctant to start a podcast. I was like, I really just don't want to be another one of these podcast guys. But I was like, I've gotta start to push this message out there because I'm just not reaching enough people right now. And if I can reach another 10 or 20 people a week, that's 10 or 20 people more than I could possibly do on my own one-on-one. And that's kind of why I started it. And it has been hard and time consuming and the most fun I've ever had. It's just been absolutely amazing. Sharing these things that are stuck in my head, or it's one-on-one conversations, to meet amazing people like you and some of the other people now. It's been fun. I don't know why I wouldn't recommend it. It's like it's opening a restaurant. Don't do it.
Right. Opening a restaurant, opening a gym studio. First of all, don't do it on your own.
Yeah.
And either one of those situations, you'll wear too many hats. And then as business owners and as operators too, because like we're solo entrepreneurs and we're doing a lot of the day-to-day operation, plus the marketing, plus the CFO, COO, CEO. We're wearing so many hats in our day-to-day business that adding on another project like a podcast is challenging.
Yes.
And then your podcast in particular has weekly challenges along with a guest or with your musings that come from your mind. So how did the challenge bit get started?
That was part of all my studies in the coaching and consulting, getting people to do things. It's like you ever go to like a seminar or one of these things and it's like you're in there and like, yeah, this is great. This is so much fun. Come Tuesday, you're like, yeah, that was fun, but I got to get back to reality, And what's happening is we're not taking any action. We're not putting anything forward. We're not taking those steps to put into practice what we learn. We read all these books and it's like, oh, it's a great book. Would you practice? Put it into practice. It's on my shelf and it looks kind of cool, but we're not doing anything. And I was like, you know what? If I'm going to put this stuff out there, I wanted to try and bring these things together, with the challenges and all these things. Like, so here's what we talked about. Now go put this into practice. Challenge yourself, and get uncomfortable, with these things. Become comfortable being uncomfortable. Become, comfortable challenging yourself, growing, taking something from a book or from a podcast or from a YouTube lecture, a TED Talk, and start putting it into practice, especially just if we just kind of break this down. This is kind of how I think about it. If we just got 1% better a month, that's a 12% gain in a year. Could you imagine if you were 12% better? You know how many companies strive for 12% growth? That's huge. Now, if you can get good at 1% a month, Imagine if you get good at 1% a week. That's a 52% gain. Could you imagine the person you would be at the end of a year if you just did one little thing every week? And that's like, if I can get people to understand that, if I can get people to challenge themselves with these small little things, at the end of the year, you're not even going to recognize the person you used to be. And you're not even going to know you did it.
That's awesome. I'm writing that down. I'm taking notes as we
Absolutely.
talk.
Take it all. It's all yours.
This 1% better philosophy. I keep hearing that 12% number, and as business owners, we oftentimes don't give ourselves enough credit. And that 12% just kind of, it correlates with the growth that I've had in my business from year 2 until now working in year 6. That oddly enough, we've had 12% growth every single year since year 2, where from year 1 to year 2, we had an 84% increase in revenue, but steadily increasing 1% per month over the past 6 years. And if we think about the compound effect by Darren Hardy, that is in effect, the compound effect working in our businesses on a weekly basis and a monthly basis. And I was thinking of the challenge in a different way, and I'll talk about it here in a second as marketing, but this 1% is realistic.
Yes.
So realistic in our businesses. If we do $5,000 in our personal training businesses in July and $5,050 in August, and then, I mean, we're just using easy math here, but I would take that.
Yeah.
I would take the $50 increase compounded over time, as opposed to the swings and the roller coaster that we experience. Year after year after year.
And see, what I want to hope from that is you get used to this little 1% growth. Most people are going to be like, well, can I do 5? Can I do 10? Why not 100? And you'll start to get used to these bigger chunks. We humans we think we can accomplish so little, but we have the capacity for endless things. We're only capped by what we believe in our imagination. And when you start to get, every week I do a little thing, every month I just get this 1%, and you start to build that confidence. And at the end of the year, when you guys are sitting around and saying, okay, what's next year's goal? Oh, we're going to do 10%. No, we're not. We're going to do 100. And instead of everybody, well, last year we did 8. I mean, 10 is achievable. So is 100. And it's like, listen, every month we did 12. Why can't we do 25? And that's the things I want people to kind of gain that confidence. Like, realistically, I'd want everybody to have more of the larger things, but I wanted, when you set these easy expectations for yourself, you kind of get this momentum. You start to build this like snowball effect. And that's what I kind of want. The 1% is easy to hear and it's easy to say, and it doesn't feel overwhelming, and it doesn't feel like this big thing. Like, I'm going to make New Year's resolutions. There's 87 of them. Let's go. And you're just not going to do it. But if you're like, if I'm just going to tackle one this week and we're going to tackle one this month, it feels so much more achievable. It feels so much more manageable. And until you can build that muscle memory and the thing saying, no, I can do 10 a week. I can do 10 a month. And that's what I really want people to eventually get to.
Well said, man. Well said. I recall 5.5 years ago when I started my business, I had SMART goals: specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely too. Yeah. Well, a goal without a plan is just a wish. I learned that along the way. Yep. And this easy, achievable goals, we get this snowball and the momentum moving much faster and much quicker and much easier too. So I love that perspective. I think I'm going to take that away as one of my highlights today. And a lot of personal trainers come to me and they say, Dave, I've got one client. How do I build this business? And if I can put it in perspective and say, well, if you add another one client, that's 100% growth this month. And then if you add 2 more next month, because you're basically just duplicating the same process over and over again, now you've grown your business 100% 2 months in a row. Yeah. but shoot, that's 400% increase compounded over time.
Mm-hmm.
So I love that perspective. It's so simple and it's so easy for me to grasp and take home.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And stepping back just a little bit to the challenge, this weekly challenge.
Yeah.
I gave you a challenge that I've had kind of worked and reworked and reorganized probably for 3 years now.
Yeah.
And this is what we like to call our lead magnet.
Mm-hmm.
It's either a $0, no cost whatsoever to the member, or maybe it's a low barrier offer like $7, $17.
Yeah.
That we offer to our ideal client, and then they opt in, they get a little taste of what we're doing, and then they pay full price.
Right.
Now, if somebody comes to you and they have this marketing strategy, where would you guide them? What would you tell them to do next? All right, you got this great product in a good system. Now, how do we deliver it to more people?
That's a really good question, and the honest answer is it depends. Probably a lot of people would tell you, oh, let's do this, and that, but that's bullshit. It depends. It depends on your goals. It depends on what you want to do. It depends on your budget. It depends on how much money you want to spend. And it depends on a lot of things. I think the one thing you want to do is just keep focusing on your core audience. Like there's this great essay by a man named Kevin Kelly. It's called 1,000 True Fans. So you guys should go read it. Go to kk.org and look up for 1,000 True Fans. And basically what it says is you want to make things that your 1,100, whatever number works for you in your business. You want to make things these people absolutely love. You want to create raving fans. You want to create everything you put out, Dave. These people are credit cards already. Dave's got something coming out Tuesday. My credit card is here, and I don't know what it is, but I'm buying it. Because everything Dave puts out is gold, and it helps me, and it pushes me to another level in life. Those are the people you want. Because I can show you how we can go run a Facebook ad right now and get 45 million people to opt in. 45 million people don't give a shit about what you did. That's nothing. If you can get 100, imagine Dave, if you're a personal trainer guy, he's like, if I can make 65 grand a year, Dave, man, I'm going to have the best life I could ever dream of. All right. How many clients do you need to make 65 grand a year? I need 65 clients. Sounds good. What are you going to do today to get one client? And if every day you just focus on what do I need to do to get one client to get to 65, that's what you should be doing. That's what you should, because you're going to go out there and you're going to think differently. You're going to be, where are these people at? Where is Bob struggling? Where is Bob hanging out? How can I go help Bob? When you find Bob, you're going to find him, and you're going to know how to get to him, and you're going to get to his friends, and everybody's hanging out there. And you're going to get to 65 real quick. But we can come up with this Instagram thing or this other strategy and this, and we're going to have all these people that sort of like what you're doing and kind of like your things, and you're going to feel good about my email list has got 154 people on 1,000 people on it, but 2.2% are buying. I mean, versus I got 153 people on my email list and 155 people buy because they share it with their friends. And not only did they all buy, 2 of their friends bought too. That's the kind of things I want you guys to think about. That's the stuff I want you guys to be focusing on, not these tactics and these things are hot this week and not next week. Like that stuff that's going to come and go. But if you know every day I'm focusing on doing the things I can do to get one client to hit to my 65 and I can make my 65K a year, that's the things you're going to have. These raving fans are going to be your best marketing strategy. When these people say, when like some of your posts I seen the other day, that lady, I think it was, she lost all that weight, or it was a guy, whatever. That's your biggest marketing strategy right there. That guy's going to tell all his friends, and there's no amount of money you're going to spend that's going to have that impact. That's the kind of stuff we need to be focusing on, not this other crap. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, it absolutely did. And my biggest business principle for 5.5, 6 years now has been the KISS principle. Mm-hmm. Keep it simple, stupid.
Yeah.
And that's the simplest form of, marketing. And it's the simplest form of business strategy in order to grow that I've seen proven time and time again. create raving fans so that they create more raving fans along the way.
Exactly.
And every single time I get distracted by a bright, shiny object, I have to be reminded by somebody like yourself, or be reminded by the team members that work with me here. And they're like, Dave, you're getting distracted. You only need two podcasts, bro.
Yeah.
And simplicity is key in every single thing that we do. Well, shoot, my 7-day challenge didn't work 3 years ago. Okay, well, I'm not going to scrap the whole thing. I'm just going to make it better because it worked this much. And then I'm going to duplicate it, and I'm going to make it work that much more because this was my 100 or my 1% better each and every week kind of idea that I didn't even have words to put it around. And is that the type of day-to-day thing that you're doing for your clients, is putting things into perspective and managing expectations plus giving them strategy and a game plan?
Exactly. That, like I was saying, I spend more of my time as a parent. You know, that's what I feel like. I feel like I got a bunch of children, and not in a, I really hope that's not a degrading or thing. That's just why I feel like, you know, that proud papa, you know, it's, oh, look at Sally. It just touches my heart. You got that award at school today. It's like, that's what we did all that homework for. That's what we spent those Saturdays reading about. Like, that's the kind of things that's what I feel like. That's how I feel. I feel like I'm a proud parent, and I'm out there, and I'm just showing you the roads. You know, my road ain't the best, you know, and I hope we you know, you and I come together, and you have your path, you know, I have my path, and we find a new path down the middle. That's, I think, where the gold is. And that's where the sweet spots are. You're going to get out of your way. I'm going to get out of my way, and we're going to find that path. You know, I got a good example for you. So I have a client, and you know, she set a goal to make $5,000 a month. And my first thought was, that's not enough. Her thought was, I can't even fathom that. She said, I have no idea how I'm going to do that. So I said, okay, let's think about this. I said, so what does that break down to a week? So we broke it down to how much it was a week. What does that break down to a day? We broke down to the day. And then I said, okay, how many people would you need to get each day to make that daily goal? And I think it was like 4 or 5. I said, can you just focus on getting 4 or 5 people today to sign up for your product? And she's like, oh yeah, that's easy. I could do that. I said, if you did that every day, you'd be at $5,000. She's like, what? And I was like, yeah, it's so easy. So you're so focused on this big picture, this big number. You've never made that kind of money. So guess what? You don't know how to make that kind of money. When you know, I don't know how to make $1 million a day. I've never done that yet. But if I make $100,000 a day and I make $200,000 a day, I keep learning every day how to do that. You know, she can, you know, but in order to know how to make those big numbers, you've got to be able to break it down to something you maybe have done. You know, we all know how to sell maybe 2 or 3 of your products, or get 1 or 2 new clients, and those things compound. And that's what I spend a lot of my time doing is kind of helping people get out of their own way. We're all in our own way so much. We're so tied up in these vanity metrics. Like, you know, a lot of people spend a lot of their time, they're not actually working. They're just being busy. We're looking at how many likes we're getting, how many shares we're getting, how many people are signing up for my newsletter, how many people have opted into this and that, versus just focusing on what we're doing, getting out of our own way. There's a good quote, goes something like, you know, along the lines of, we love ourselves more than anything, but we care more about other people's opinions of us than our own. You know, and that's the kind of things I deal with every day. Never mind what these other people are saying and thinking. Let's worry about what you're doing. Let's worry about what makes you tick, what gets you up in the morning. These are the people, they don't care. They're worried about themselves. Stop worrying about what they think of you. Let's start worrying about you. Let's provide that value. Let's go out there and make somebody's life difference, let's save a life, whatever it is you're up to. That's what I spend a lot of my time doing.
I gotcha. I totally understand where you're coming from, because as a facilitator for a personal growth, basically, we just do it through fitness and nutrition here in the gym. That's what we're doing. We're facilitating personal growth. And as you were talking about simply just getting 4 or 5 people to purchase a product, or to come see you for a consultation per day will help move mountains.
Yeah.
But as you're saying that, I'm thinking of this mindset and this mentality of like, I'm earning $100,000 today, and I'm earning $100,000 tomorrow, not in just one day, but every action step that I take yesterday, today, and tomorrow is reaching that. You used a $5,000 a month goal. And if it's 100,000, shoot, that's only $10,000.
Yeah.
The number is arbitrary.
Yep.
The action steps you're talking about all lead up to that end goal of ours is big. Ours is huge.
Yeah.
It's 1.2 million in revenue per year.
Yeah.
And we have online products that can actually do it because that's the scalable portion of our business.
Yeah.
And before we jump off, I want to ask you, if people want to get a hold of you and learn more, what's the best way to contact you?
If you're interested in the marketing aspect, it's Max Ramos Marketing. We're everywhere at maxramosmarketing.com. If you're interested in, I guess, my thoughts on things, you can check out the Social Chameleon Show, the Social Chameleon Show, Social Chameleon Show on all the social platforms. If you're interested in things I'm personally into, I think most things are at Diddy Woods or at my name, Tyson Gaylord. One of those two combinations should take you to somewhere.
Correct. Yeah. You and I connected on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
And LinkedIn is a great source for finding like-minded people. You're going to find out really quick if this person on the other end of that message thread is unauthentic and not interested in what you have to say really quick.
Yeah. And I'd like to say something on that. Be respectful. You have this unprecedented access to the most powerful and influential people. Don't abuse it. I DM very, very wealthy and famous people in whatever fashion that is. But when I'm taking that opportunity to circumvent the secretaries and all these people that we used to have to get through, it's a very, very specific thing that I can't figure out. And I've tried, and I'm hoping you can give me a moment of your time. So many people waste a lot of people's time with frivolous crap, and you'll just be blocked. You've just wasted an opportunity at a level of access we've never had before.
Got it.
I'd like, take that with a grain of salt. If you can easily Google things, don't message somebody. Please don't. Google it. And when you get to a real hard problem, that's when you contact them. You'd be surprised at the level these people will help you.
Man, that's good food for thought. I have interacted with a lot of quality people on LinkedIn, a lot of personal trainers that I've reached out and connected with simply just to start a conversation about where they're at in their business right now. And I want to further continue that conversation. So that's a big help for me. Be respectful, be kind. And let's circle back around to that quote that you said. And it was, the person that we love the most is ourselves. But we spend so much time caring about what other people think. And how do we apply that both personally and professionally in 60 seconds or less? What's your best advice?
You just gotta not care. They're not looking at you. They don't care what you're doing because they're concerned with themselves. So don't be concerned with them. Just focus on what you want to do and doing the right things to move yourself forward and your business forward. And that's really it. I mean, just focus on what you're up to and don't worry about them because they really honestly aren't worried about you.
That's right. Comparison is the thief of joy, as Teddy Roosevelt would say.
Yes.
And it's a daily reminder for me. I don't spend too much time on social media. I spend time posting there.
Yeah.
And I think that that's a good quality balance for me as a business owner, to stay true to the core values that we have here in the business and then reaching out and finding genuine connections like yourself. So I want to say thank you very much for your time today, Tyson.
Oh, thank you, Dave.
My pleasure. And what are you saying in about 6 to 12 months we jump back on either podcast, the Social Chameleon Show or Aspire Hire here, and we see where we're at. Let's find out how this collaboration has helped us push each other forward.
I would absolutely love that, Dave. You've been one of those great connections that I've made, and keep moving forward. Keep doing this. You're doing a great thing. I would love to have you on the show, and I'd love to be back on here anytime you want to have me.
Thanks. I appreciate you saying that, guys. And if you're listening and Tyson's message resonates with you and how simple it is and how effective it can be to get back to the grassroots marketing that you're looking for to build your business, please reach out to him now, because he's got a lot more to say. And you know what? I hear he's giving it all away. So call him, get some stuff.
Bring it in. Yeah.
Get some stuff that's going to help you improve your life and your business. Connect with him on his podcast. I love listening to it, and those daily or weekly challenges are going to help me move forward. So thank you so much for tuning into the Aspire Hire podcast. And if the message here that we're trying to get across to help you build a business resonates, please share it with family, friends, coworkers, your personal training peers, to help everybody grow this year and reach their goals. Talk to you next week.